Hi, I'm Rich, and this is episode 4 of the Hytro Performance Podcast. Today we're speaking to British No.1 tennis player Cam Norrie and his performance coach Vasek. We're going to discuss how they met, how they worked together to introduce BFR into his training and recovery, and how they're preparing for the clay court season ahead. Should be a great conversation. Let's get going. So guys, thank you so much for coming on today. To kick things off, how are you both? Where are you? I know you're spending some time together ahead of Monte Carlo Masters. So what's going on?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're here in my place right now in Monaco, just preparing for the first clay tournament of the year in Monte Carlo. So usually we do blocks with Vasek to when it's a surface change, just to do a lot of movements and get used to the different surface. But yeah, I've not seen Vasek for like a month now, so it's nice to be back with him. I missed him a little bit. So it's good to be back, and we're looking forward to the tournament in Monte Carlo.
No, he missed the free coffees. That's all.
Yeah.
Not me though.
Are you the coffee guy on the team as well, Vasek?
No, I'm losing way too much, so it's the same story.
We're playing everything for coffees. So we're in Buenos Aires, and we're playing cards. We're playing a lot of Uno, and he paid. I would say you paid most out of the team.
I just keep him entertainment. So,
but lucky he was in pesos in Argentina, so he saves a bit.
Take one for the team, keep them happy. I get it. I guess for those that don't know you, Vasek, could you share a little bit about your journey into the world of tennis and strength and conditioning training?
Originally I was born in Czech Republic. I moved to France in 2008 to play rugby. So my background is not tennis at all. I was playing rugby. I finished my master in sports and physical education in Czech Republic, and then I just play rugby. And in the end of my kind of career, I wanted to keep kind of working in a high performance sport. So obviously my goal is to working in the strength and conditioning. And on the first thing I want to really work in the rugby, but that was pretty tough to find any place, whatever. And I somehow started working in Muratoglu Academy. And then from there I was progressing and doing a little better. And then I met Cam in one of the tournaments on the tour back in 2018, and we started working together since.
And what was your first impression of each other? You have such a great relationship. I think we see it here, see it on social, but like, what was it like when you first started working together?
I know he came to me in the morning in Mexico, and he didn't want to wait in a line. There was a huge line for the breakfast, and he came to me and said, can I sit next to you, because I am so hungry and I just want to stay there. So okay, just come and have a breakfast with me, and we start talking together, and I think the relationship start building from there.
Yeah, and then it was kind of from there I felt good with him, and he finished with the player he was working with before, Thanasi Kokonakis, and I was looking for a strength and conditioning, and we felt it matched well, and he was willing to travel. Obviously tennis is quite difficult. You're traveling a lot around different places, so it's very, very tough to find someone who has like the free time and everything to travel, and there's not much you can plan, but everything's changing. So it was Vasek was up for that, and it was working well. It was actually pretty funny. I had one of the bosses from LTA like vet him and interview him. We had a big interview, and we could tell he was quite nervous, and he probably thought there was a lot of other fitness trainers like he had to compete with. And then we told him we got the job, and then he asked me after, he said, "Oh, so how many other fitness trainers?"
I was like 2 years later.
So he was like, "How many other fitness trainers were you looking at when you interviewed me?" And I said, "Man, it was just you." And he said, "Wow, I was thinking you had a long list of guys." So it's been good since then.
Yeah, when you know, right? For us at Hytro Towers, we always refer to you, Cam, as like the gladiator of tennis. No stopping you. The work ethic is incredible. Is that a shared philosophy you guys have in the way you approach training and the way you approach performance? That it's not about a quick fix or a quick route to something. It's about getting as much out of everything you guys are doing together as possible.
Yeah, I think our whole team, including my coach Facu and Julian, we all have the same philosophy of, I think, our whole career of always doing everything we can to make sure we're ready, and doing that extra fitness and doing that extra set. I think it, definitely paid off throughout my career. And I think we all share the same philosophy of working hard and having that mindset. But I think a little bit as I've got older, especially the last couple of years, we have to adapt, and I think we're thinking bringing more quality than quantity. The last kind of year and a half, especially with tennis, there's always always things going on. There's always niggles, and the calendar is so long. So you want to make sure you're peaking for the biggest tournaments, and it's very tough to play. Obviously, ideally, you want to be winning week after week, and so I think the way that the tennis rankings and everything works, and you want to be peaking for the biggest tournaments, the Grand Slams, and the way to do that is to play deep in these tournaments and go make quarters, semis, finals, and winning titles is the only way to move up the rankings. There's no good making third round every week, because you're not going to do that much, just the way that the rankings work out. So we're just trying to make sure we're physically, mentally ready for each week to compete. And I feel like we're doing the right things at the moment. We just need to stay patient, and I feel like there's a couple big results coming this summer. There's some big tournaments, and it's going to be a long year with Olympics. So we need to stay patient, and we're going to do it.
It's really funny. I've always been a team sport athlete myself, and fan of team sports. But after speaking to Charlie Faulkner when he was at the LTA, and he explained to me that tennis is arguably mentally one of the most attritional sports, because every time you go to a tournament, one person wins. So you've got like 100 other athletes who have to lose and then get themselves up for the next one. And then like the mentally from a toughness point of view, but then physically as well, being able to quickly recover, quickly get yourself up to, I'm sure there's peaks and troughs across the season, but being able to get there every time, even from a coach's point of view, must be really difficult to prepare the athlete. I mean, is that where that introduction of BFR came, to be able to, no matter where you are, no matter what's happened, to get in that quick recovery, quick prep, quick levels of training? How is that integration happened for you guys?
So primarily we start using the BFR because Cam has some issues with the knees last year. So Charlie and the LTA, they introduced us to BFR, to the Hytro. So we started using it back in last year during the grass season in UK. And we found the technology like we already used before, but the Hytro technology was pretty simple and very, very easy to use. So we start using it especially for the body prep before the training, and then in the part of the recovery. And then we found out we had a very good outcome, the knees getting better. So we start using them more and more and try seeking for different approach, how we can using it. And since we just using them for basically preparing the tissue, and the most, I would say, after the practice and matches for recovery. Yeah.
So could you talk me through typical training at this point in the season? I mean, what is even the balance of on-court practice and strength and conditioning? Because I'm assuming you're not trying to make like gains at this point in the year. It's healthy and moving okay.
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult, this kind of block, especially going from Miami to Monte Carlo. It's quite a short window. So this block, we really wanted to focus on playing a lot of tennis and getting used to the clay again and the movements. So the last week or so we've been playing a lot of tennis, but we haven't been able to do as much physical work and gym work as probably we would usually do. But we did some the other day. We went to the track here in Monaco, and we did some speed work and isometrics, Vasek's favorite word, isometrics. And then just a lot of quality with the tennis, and getting the body ready to play matches. And I'm playing a match this afternoon with Demona, we've got a short gym and then we're gonna practice. We've got the court for 3 hours, so just playing a lot of tennis and just really focusing on the movements, because I think when I'm feeling good with the movement on the clay, I think it can be my best surface. You know, if I'm not moving well and you kind of second guessing yourself, it can be very tough, and the surface is very difficult.
So is there anything you guys do alongside the physical work around motivation and prepping? Because it is, like, the clay season is, as a fan, some of the best to watch, but can also be some of the most unforgiving, right, when you're playing. So what do you guys do around, not that you need the push of motivation, but just physically, like, how do you find that extra gear together in your training?
I don't know. I think we're, like I said, with our philosophy, we never feel like we need the motivation. I think we're always keen to do everything, and I think it's more the other side, when to pull back. You know, I'm never going to be like, I'd rather not do this, or very, very seldom I'm canceling sessions of this. So I think it's, yeah, like I said before, trying to bring the quality and the right head to go and practice, you know, and go to go improve, because you're either getting worse or you're getting better. So you're not going to go out and just do the session just to tick the box. It's not, you're not getting anything out of it. So I think with me, it's not finding the motivation. I'm always keen to do everything, and I'm always wanting to do lots of stuff and doing more and more. For me, I'm always, even if I'm resting, for me, it's, I'd rather be doing just like an active rest, going to swim or go to the beach, rather than, for me, if I'm like just chilling on the couch, I feel a little bit worse, you know, like, so I'm just more trying to be smart with that.
Vasek, do you struggle to get Cam to rest and recover?
Yeah, I mean, with for me and Julian, our physio, I think is the toughest part. We try to teach him how the rest is important, because before he wanted just to hit the ball, in the gym, running, and it was like, okay, man, you're pretty young, you can do all these things, but right now I think you know, you need to know when you need to rest, when your body needs to rest, because we had some niggles here and there. So it's a pretty long process to make him understand that the rest is important. Yeah. So yeah, it's not easy, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
So what are some of the go-to recovery methods you have while you're on the circuit?
I think the first one we've been using, I think I've probably used Hytro more than any other human being in the last 10 months. So we've been using it every day before I'm training to get the knee ready and to activate the tendons and everything. But we're doing a lot. I think for me at the moment, it's very easy with the recovery to use the Hytro. We're doing the passive recovery, where you do strap for 5 minutes, rest for a minute, and then you got three sets of that, and you can just do that on the couch. And then we're doing using that for the bike as well, where we do 3 minutes strapped, 1 minute off, times 3. And yeah, I think that was, for me, it's just very easy, very simple, and quick. Like I feel like I like, a lot of athletes like efficiency, and like it's very easy to do. It's not a big hassle where you have to go and you have to have someone there. You can go, you do it by yourself. You have your own pair of shorts. It's very quick. So for me, that's now number one recovery at the moment. Trying to sleep as much as we can and stay hydrated as well. And then we would occasionally doing ice baths and just to mix it up. And I always find I sleep pretty well after doing the ice bath. I don't know if it helps directly, but I'm listening to Vasek and Julian. So, but I also feel good after doing it. We have some ice baths in Moratoglu where we all do it together. So if he thinks it helps, he has to do it with me. So if he no getting out of it.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
So fun.
Would that be one of your coaching philosophies, Vasek, that if you're going to ask an athlete to do something, you've tried it yourself?
Yeah, I think it's important that when you ask someone to do something, that you know how it looks like, how it feels like. So yeah, I try to do lots of things I ask Cam to do. I do myself, not cardio. I'm not cardio man. When I'm doing programming the cardio, I just do it and I'll see how you feel.
He actually did the beep test with me in preseason. He did pretty well.
Yeah.
Surprising. Good effort.
Do either of you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions that kind of get you prepared for a game physically or mentally? Is there anything you like, we have to do this?
Yeah, I think for me on the match day, I have a lot of things that I'd like to do. Yeah, just I like to do a bit of breathing in the morning I do this kind of every day, very quick one. And I'd say pre-match rituals. I always listen to like an audio book before I'm getting ready, when I'm kind of doing my grips or taping my finger just before the match once I've eaten. And I don't know why I pick a shower for the week of each tournament, and I always use the same one. Awesome. But like, it's not even a superstition. I just like to kind of do the same thing and kind of go in the same place to keep the same routine.
The last round is the same, no? Well, if we win, let's say we're going for the dinner and then the next day we win or he wins the match, then we need to go to the restaurant same every during all the week.
But I like if the restaurant's good, I like to go back, and I like to feel good. I know what I like and I stay with it. It's not
simple.
I like simple. And then I don't know why, this is really random, but I always go to the third toilet down. So for whatever reason, I always pick third one. I don't know why. And
hey, control the controllables, right? If everything else is aligned, you could just worry about playing then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when I'm on court, I don't have any superstitions really. Like I'll step on the lines. I'll change the ball. Some players like to, if they win a point with the ball, they keep the same one. For me, no. When I'm playing, I'm not really too superstitious at all once I'm out there.
Bringing it back to the coaching, Vasek, can I ask, what is it you love about being a coach? Because you are exposed to such an incredible world, and your success arguably is measured by someone else's success. So, like, what is it that attracts you to that kind of like role in this performance space?
But I think is what you said is the success of the performance. So my goal is to make him as best as possible, and this something that's make me seeking for new things, how we can develop, how we can evolve all together, how we can get better every year, and then seeing him performing and overperforming someone is, I think for me, is the best thing. I think my best memories is from Wimbledon when he finished in the semis, when he was playing 5 sets against Goffin and just overplay him at the end physically. For me, it was just one of the best moments in my career so far. So yeah, this is something that made me work hard and thinking every day, how can I improve, how can I get him better. That's I think that's it.
Feels like there's definitely a consistent philosophy and I guess culture around the people that you have around you, Cam, that everyone's on that same vision. So as you guys do gear up for clay, how does the training regime change? You already spoke about there being different types of movements. Does anything change in the conditioning? Is there any things you specifically focus on in training? I imagine, knee, ankle joint robustness is probably pretty important at this time.
Yeah, I typically feel better going onto the clay in terms of my body is quite like much softer on the joints. On the hard courts, you're changing direction a lot, and once you get used to after the first week or so, I think you feel better. Your body with all the joints and everything. But in terms of physically, you're ultimately going to play more or less longer points. So you have to be willing on the clay courts to be patient. On the points, it's always going to take 2 or 3 extra balls to finish the point, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of a chess match out there, and I think I have a pretty decent engine, so looking always to make the match as physical as I can, not only for myself but for the other guy. Like making the guy move a lot, and just I think as the match goes on, typically I'm more favored to win the match. So trying to make it as physical as I can and make the other guy work as hard as I can, and keep that constant pressure, and keep that kind of pressure on him, and yeah, I'm not a guy who's going to come out and serve absolute rockets and play no rhythm and serve volley everything. So slowly, death by and cuts, or whatever they say.
It's funny that it kind of all then pieces together, because we certainly see that as fans, right? That you certainly won't be outworked on the court. I think that's a given. And Vasek shared that one of his proudest moments is seeing you outlast those other players, because it's like, okay, everything we did before here was right. And yeah, there's plenty to look back on in the footage of Roland Garros around that endurance that you've built. Do you look forward to Roland Garros? Is it a tournament that you mark in the calendar?
I like all of the Grand Slams, and I feel like I feel good there in Paris. It's one place I feel good, and yeah, it's a special tournament, and yeah, I mean the history there, the players that have won the tournament, it's always a big one, and I feel like I always bring a pretty good base level when I play there in Roland Garros, and think it's a pretty cool opportunity if I do make the team in the Olympics. We'll be playing again in the Roland Garros venue. To be playing the Olympics there could be very special.
Right, how far in the season do you guys actually look? Is it one tournament at a time, or there's this obvious crescendo this year, right? Wimbledon, Olympics. Do you allow yourself to look that far ahead now and begin prepping, or is it as the calendar goes?
Yeah, we sit down at the end of last year and we plan the schedule more or less. There's always going to be things changing. You do what really well one week and you're not able to play the following week, or you get sick, you have to pull out. There's always things kind of changing, so you have to be ready to adapt with the schedule. And yeah, you could be losing a lot and you got to play another tournament, or you need a break or anything. But yeah, typically we have the schedule set and we know where I like to play, where I play well, and that's the beauty. You get to pick the tournaments. Sometimes there's tournaments in different places. We get to select where you want to play and where you want to go, which is very cool. But I think now, after playing on the tour, I think 5 or 6 years now, I know where I like to go and where I play well. So yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen, obviously, recent Netflix docs like Full Swing, Drive to Survive and Breakpoint have poured in so much more attention on sports like tennis. And we see more of the human side athletes. I don't know how accurate it actually is, a little peek behind the curtain. Are you guys seeing and feeling that increased interest? Is there more media around what you're doing? Are people talking to you more, saying they saw you here or there, or?
With the Netflix thing, you said?
Just generally, so even for me, going from being, predominantly a team sport watching consumer to now I obsessively try and find more and more tennis to watch, only because I've seen or maybe appreciated just how incredibly hard it is to be a touring tennis athlete. I can't be the only one. Are you guys seeing more attention or an increase in interest?
We are not the superstars. So
yeah, but I was.
I mean, there's no one like approach us.
Yeah, I think it was with the F1 for me. I never watch F1, and then I watched that, and they did such a good job with this. But for me, I really didn't like the tennis one, and actually, they approached me when I was top 10 and to do it, and I said no, I didn't want to do it, just because the fact you're a team, and you throughout when I was seeing them filming, it would be for me so annoying to have them there, like after you cool down and the guy videoing there, and even like you're trying to do your stretching and the sound guy's there like stepping on your mat. You're like, man, come on. But no, I thought it was a good idea to do. to bring a bit more interest, but I didn't really like the way they did it, and I think they could have made it a bit more interesting with some different players that they could select,
Yeah.
even picking a guy ranked, like 60 in the world or 80 following, and actually seeing what it truly is to be a tennis player, because it was not as accurate as they made it seem. I actually watched like 2 episodes, but I like that they that it for sure brought some more interest.
It's funny, in the golf version, I'm now like a Joel Dharma fan because he's like way down the breeze, but he's also the guy who has the most fun on tour. So I'm like, now he's my guy. I'll watch Rory, but Joel Dharma's the one. But I think what we did see is some younger players getting some spotlight, and it did make me think, how do you chase down, as an athlete where you are now, how do you chase down those guys, at the very top and really assert yourself there as a leader of the pack, but also then keep these young kids coming through who are freak athletes, some of them? What is it that you focus on, other than just like, injury-free, being as prepared as possible? Is that something that you even think about?
Yeah, a lot. Watching a lot of the other players, a lot of other tennis all the time, and seeing what they're doing, seeing how they play, and I think, it's the guys at the top of the game is great. You can compare yourself to them and what they do really well and what you need to improve on. So I'm always trying to learn from those guys and what they like to do in the biggest moments of the matches. And then I think it's quite difficult. We know when some other guys come up. Recently I played a young Italian guy, Caboli, and I hadn't watched him that much, and I watched him a couple days before playing him, and you don't really know how they play. You're not watching, you're not seeing, you're not practice with them. So for me, you have an idea of how you want to play and what you like to do and what patterns work well for you. But, like I watched a lot of video on him, and I was like, okay, he's this kind of small guy. He looks like he hits the ball well. His serve is okay. He kind of just kicks in the first serve a lot of the time. And I went out there and he served 5 aces in a row to start the match. I was like, wow, this guy's got an absolute rocket. Like, I don't know, did I miss something here? And then I ended up winning the match, and it was a good match. But it's quite tricky, like to have these guys, a lot of the younger guys that I felt when I was that age. Maybe this kid was younger, but you're kind of fearless. You think you can beat anyone, and you just go out and you want to play. You're a little bit overconfident, and you have nothing to lose, and you're like, oh, this is unbelievable. You're playing this big tournament for the first time, so you're going to do this. But ultimately, you got to think, you use your experience and stay calm, and ultimately, I outlasted him. He died a little bit physically. And it was a very easy third set, but it was a good example of this.
It's funny, there aren't surely many other sports apart from boxing, I hadn't thought about it, where you get to almost spar before the bout. I hadn't thought about, you're probably strategic in who you do your practice games with, and then like making notes to understand what comes. Like from a coaching point of view, is there that also like sharing, or do you find like, or are coaches with their players like, no, we have the secret sauce rep range or particular tool or modality, don't tell anyone because this is the thing that's keeping our guy healthy? Or is there like an open sharing like that as well?
I think it depends, but all these top players, they know each other because they practicing together almost every day.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know what Cam thinks, but we have a good practice with Daniel Medvedev and his team, and we're sharing a lot. So it's always good to share with them and learn new stuff. So yeah, I think it depends. Yeah.
Okay. And then on this element of other athletes, are you seeing a trend in the tennis athlete necessarily changing? A lot of sports see athletes sizing down to be quicker and add longevity to their bodies. Is there a changing like generation of athletes where they're built slightly differently or focusing on different like outputs or abilities?
Not really. There's obviously different types of bodies in tennis. You can have really tall guys who serve really well, and then smaller guys that don't. But I think typically you're seeing, I think now what I've seen a lot is every player, I think, inside the top 100 is traveling now with a fitness trainer, and everyone is really working hard on the fitness, and I think a lot of the courts and the surfaces are coming a little bit slower. So the sport is coming more and more physical, and some of the conditions we're playing in Buenos Aires and in Rio, it's absolutely boiling, so if you can make it physical, obviously very skill based, and the players at the top of the game are winning a lot of the skill points and doing things just slightly better tennis side of things. But if you don't have a base fitness out there, you have no chance on the tour right now. I think if you look back in the day, even 5-6 years ago, there was not many people traveling with fitness trainers. So it was
Really?
As much as the top guys, top guys always were, but guys ranked 50 to 100, nah. But now you see everyone.
You have to invest in your body, right? Because it's the product you have. Okay. I'm going to round off with 2 questions, one each. I'd love to hear this answer. But Vasek, for you, what is the difference between a good and a great coach?
So it's tough. I think adaptation, I would say.
Okay.
How quick you can adapt to, especially in this environment like tennis. How quick you can sort out things, problems, because every week different scenario, different places. So I would say very great coach is the one he can adapt very quickly and find solutions, I would say.
Okay. And then Cam, for you, on a similar thread, what will make the difference between a good and a great athlete?
Good question.
Adaptation.
His coach, surely, his strength and conditioning coach, the physio he has around him. No.
I would say maybe, 2 things. I think you got to surround yourself with people you trust, first of all, and I think second of all, at the end, on the flip side of that, it's when you're performing any sport, especially individual sports, you have your team, but only you're out there and you're going to make all the decisions. So just same as Vasek, adapting to different scenarios and always trying to look for solutions, and I think there's always, at the end of the day, sport comes down to a few moments. So how can you feel your best in those biggest moments, and how can you play on your terms? I think especially in tennis, in those biggest moments, and yeah, I think tennis is a very different one with you're playing every point for point, and there's a lot of different momentums, and you're feeling bad in certain parts of the matches and feeling very good in certain parts. So managing momentum, always looking for solutions, and at some point you're going to have to snap. You need to break a racket, and then you move on to the next point, So it's a lot of things.
It really is the example of like the man in the arena, right? Like you can't question anything unless you've stepped in yourself. And I'm going to stretch this one further now. The more I've heard the two of you about preparing and adaptability and the confrontation in the performance, in my head now, hearing more people speak about it, I actually almost put boxing and tennis together as an athlete mindset and the preparation and knowing the opponent. Am I miles off, or could you see?
I think it's very similar. I agree with this. Obviously, it's very different. If you kind of lose focus in boxing, you absolutely whacked in the face. But in tennis, it's kind of similar. You lose a lot of points in a row, you lose focus, and you get down a break early, and you maybe don't have the chance to get it back. So I think it'll be nice, maybe nice project if I want to coach later. When I'm older, you go around to all the boxing clubs and you pick all the best young boxers and you say, come on, let's stop boxing, come play tennis. And then maybe be good competitors.
Cool. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking to you. Thank you so much. I know you guys are really busy prepping. Everyone here wishes you the best of luck, obviously, going into the clay season. We're really hoping we can speak to you again in the summer as we get towards some of the big tournaments again. But really appreciate your time and thanks. It's been a great conversation.
No, thanks for having us. We enjoyed it as well.
What a great episode. Absolutely love chatting to Cam and Vasek. Those guys are great. Make sure you subscribe to not miss out on the next episodes coming up.